Winter War of 1939 to 1940, when the Soviet Union invaded Finland 3 months after the outbreak of World War II, where the Soviets launched a massive attack with 2,500 to 6,500 tanks and 3,800 aircraft against Finland's 32 tanks and 114 aircraft in negative 45-degree Fahrenheit weather, resulting in heavy Soviet losses and impressively holding off a giant until March 1940, when a peace treaty was signed. Today, we do a historical experiment with the tank battle of Honkaniemi and an all-out Finland vs. Soviet battle based on only all vehicles used during its time. When looking at the map of where the Battle of Honkaniemi took place during February 26, 1940, it was impressive how much it resembled War Thunder's Poland map, with purple dots on the historical map outlining where farmhouses or buildings were, and a body of water to the side, along with areas of trees throughout. This battle turned out to be a disaster for Finland, losing almost half its tanks before the battle even began, due to technical issues or engine failures, and having issues with radio and its artillery strikes. But for round 1, we see with Finland being able to use its artillery and the only Vickers marquees it had against the Soviet T-26s and T-28s, 1938 variants, on a larger scale with 20 vs. 20. Who would win? Let's see which country will win, as our participants have chosen their side to fight for. The song you hear in the background was actually sung about the Winter War, called Nijet Melitov, by someone that I believe lived around this time period. Someone's most liked comment on this song when I came across it on YouTube mentions that it sounds like the singer is holding back laughter, which apparently makes it 10 times better. From the battle, both forces are pushing to conquer the town area that was similar to the area of the real engagement, but was more of farmhouses in this area. In the real battle, the original plan was to conduct a counterattack with 6 battalions, 3 artillery, and the 4th Tank Company. But after hurried preparations, the units eligible for attack decreased to 4 battalions, 2 artillery, and the Tank Company. As mentioned, the Finland team is the only side allowed to use artillery, since they were the only ones I could find record of using it. However, historically, before the start of the battle during an artillery barrage, shells ended up landing at their starting point, which led to 30 Finns being killed or wounded and causing the attack to be postponed by an hour. We're about 5 minutes in, with 10 Finn tanks left and 16 Soviet tanks left. Will Finland be able to hold its territory? Finnish player deciding to drop artillery on themselves once they knew they were dead in hopes of knocking out the T-28 that destroyed them. About 7.5 minutes in, with 7 Finnish tanks left and 10 Soviet ones left, the Finnish slowly making a strong comeback to try and protect their land. Will it be enough? And our Finland participants win, being able to hold their territory and not having to retreat like they had to in the original battle. Great effort by both sides. We now go into a hypothetical Finland vs. Soviet battle where we took every aircraft and vehicle I could find record of that both sides had during the war and allowed participants to battle it out in one big match on War Thunder's Finland map. Let's see which country will win in this all-out ultimatum.
had some feedback from subscribers of including more overhead shots of our battles, in which I do incorporate, so you'll have to let me know if you like it with how I do it. USSR enjoyed air superiority throughout the war. The Soviet Air Force supporting the Red Army's invasion of about 2,500 aircraft, the most common type being the SB, was not as effective as the Soviets might have hoped. During the war, the Soviets recorded 2,075 bombing attacks in 516 localities. The city of Viipuri, a major Soviet objective, was almost leveled by nearly 12,000 bombs. In combat, the most severe cause of confusion among Finnish soldiers was Soviet tanks. The Finns had few anti-tank weapons and insufficient training in modern anti-tank tactics. The Finns learned that at close range, tanks could be dealt with in many ways with logs, crowbars jammed into their wheels, and mass-producing Molotov cocktails destroying 80 of the Soviet tanks. It wasn't until the fall of 1943 the Finns received 59 Stug 3s that ended up claiming 87 Soviet tanks, and in 1944 they received 15 Panzer IVs, one participant accidentally choosing the H version that included the spaced armor on the sides that the Finns didn't have. At the beginning of the war, Finland had a small air force with only 114 combat planes fit for duty and were mainly used to repel Soviet bombers. With being old-fashioned and few in number, the Finnish aircraft offered little support for their ground troops. Finns doing an excellent job pushing the Soviet forces back, being about 8 minutes into the battle, even with 44 Finnish tanks now being destroyed and 39 Soviet vehicles being destroyed.
finishing the battle with Finland pushing Soviet players almost all the way back to their spawn. 58 Finnish vehicles destroyed and 44 Soviet vehicles destroyed. Thank you to all those that helped, and hope you all enjoyed this video. You all stay cool and keep tanking.